I'm Allendale's chief meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at your midday weather update. New weather models in right now, or at least the latest run of the GFS, and everybody's kind of wondering what it's saying. I've heard some information come out that one weather outlet is now calling for a frost and freeze event across parts of the Corn Belt, the upper Midwest, around the 12th. And I'll tell you what my reaction is to that right up front. My reaction up front is, who cares? All right, the normal first frost date for central Illinois, October 16th. So if we're talking about a freeze event on October 12th in the northwestern part of the Corn Belt into the Midwest, shoot, let's even take it all the way down to I-80 or southward. So what? Basically right on time, right when you would expect it to happen. So, on the one hand, I'm not overly excited about talking about a major cold air outbreak there anyway around the 12th. Just doesn't look to me to be all that spectacular. And then on top of that, even if it does, it's the time of year that it's supposed to be getting colder anyway. So that's my thought. I actually think if you want to talk about and get worked up about a cold air push, you probably have a better case, at least with regard to the GFS, for the 4th into the 5th. Now, as you've heard us say here the past couple of days, we're not on board that bandwagon. We like the European a little bit better, saying Wisconsin, a northern half of Michigan, going to be looking at maybe some cool temperatures and some frostiness there, but the rest of the Corn Belt probably looks just fine. So it really is kind of interesting how groups are jumping on different bandwagons and going forward. But the way we see it right now, taking a look at the latest model information, there's really not much here that says we need to change the forecast based on the GFS. I'm actually really interested to see what the model run of the European that comes out here after the noon hour, what it wants to say with regard to both precipitation and moisture going forward. Not so much here short term. This short-term pattern's pretty much locked in, but I'm more interested in terms of moisture as we go through next week, because it does look like both models are trying to go wetter, even the European going a little bit wetter earlier today for the middle of next week, just not quite to the same magnitude as the nearby GFS. Right now, let's tell you what we've got going on. The surface analysis has a cool front kind of meandering through the eastern Corn Belt. This goes stationary back in the plains, and honestly, I'll make the argument that we're going to be seeing a disconnect here. You're going to see the cool front kind of break away from this next low that's working its way into southeastern parts of South Dakota right now, and you're going to see this be a standalone front over the next 6 to 12 hours. This front then will work eastward, and I see now 3 pulses that move up. You've got the initial low that's in southwestern South Dakota now. I think this thing makes a beeline to western Ontario probably in the next 12 hours. So it lifts north, it stretches the cold front out. Then you've got a low that's in southwest Kansas, southeast Colorado, and you've got one that's all the way down at El Paso. And I think you're going to be seeing those 2 little pulses work up the front as well. And since the front, or that main body low, is moving more north than it is east, that means this thing's going to take its own sweet time rotating through. So scattered showers knocking on the door in the western Corn Belt, Iowa, Minnesota right now. Plenty of clouds there. I look for showers to move in there late this afternoon into this evening. And we'll see showers continue off and on in the plains, central plains and northern plains, through the rest of today and into the overnight period tonight. Then as those pulses of energy move forward northward over the next couple of days along the front, I see a little bit more moisture working through. All told, this front will take, like we said, its own sweet time working through the Corn Belt, probably not exiting until we get into Friday night, Friday afternoon. So between now and Friday afternoon, I like, across the Corn Belt, 1/2 to 1.5 inch rainfall totals. I'm going to leave my coverage at 80%, although I can honestly say you can probably bump that to near 100% in terms of places that get rain. I really think all of the Corn Belt's going to see at least a little bit of rain. But if we're going to go with that 1/2 to 1.5 inch range, you've got to knock 20% off there, because there will be some areas that just don't quite get to that 1/2. By the same token, the upper end of that range, the 1 to 1.5, only in a few spots, mostly over the central eastern Corn Belt, where the front can tap into Gulf moisture. So it's not like it's a widespread, huge rain event. What it will do, though, is it'll probably knock harvest back a couple of days. This is going to be an event that does cause some delays. Now, we're going to be dry as we go through the weekend. Cooler, definitely cooler. Going to be watching for some of that frostiness, probably overnight Saturday night into Sunday morning over parts of Wisconsin into Michigan. You can make the argument maybe it comes a little sooner maybe even Friday night, Saturday morning in some of those northern locations. But the European model just doesn't want to take it nearly as far south as the GFS does. Then we're dry as we go into next week, probably till midweek, and this is where the European and GFS do agree on a system coming together kind of in between two high-pressure domes. So as we go through late the 8th and then into the 9th and 10th, going to watch for scattered showers in there. No reason to back away from that thought process here at midday with what we came up with this morning. I think we're going to be looking at amounts not super impressive, half inch or less. Coverage about 60 to 70% of the Corn Belt as we go through next week. And then we've got a massive front in for the 14th into the 15th coming out of the plains and into the Corn Belt. The GFS model this morning tried to take moisture out as that front moved east, but let's put it this way. If it's as strong as we see it in the plains, we're definitely going to be seeing moisture come across the Corn Belt. So the basic takeaway from this forecast will be, you know what, we got some rain coming off and on, but you'll notice that as we have the moisture come in, we actually then have some windows of dryness behind. So I think this is going to be something that maybe we slow the progress of harvest a little bit. Now, let's be honest. We've kind of gotten spoiled with the nice, big, long, dry window that we had over the past week and a half or so. So we're going to slow it down. We're going to have to dodge some showers, but there's still going to be ample opportunity as we go through the first part of October. Cooler air is coming, but at this point, we are going to downplay frost threat, frost risk, and you know what? After another week to 10 days, it's all within the realm of normal anyway. If you've got any questions about the weather, give us a call at Allendale. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.